Welcome to a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Here on James True Live, we'll be taking a nice easy stroll down the news today, seeing what's going on. And good to see everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope all's well. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Iran 6 months away from nuclear bomb. Oh my God, Iran 6 months away from nuclear bomb. Iran 6 months away from nuclear bomb. Iran is 6 months away from nuclear bomb. I've been hearing that since I was 8, since I was 6. I actually remember, I can't find a copy of this, but this is before the internet. I remember the stories where, thanks Stretch, I remember the stories where they told me that all of the Iranian children were taught to hate Mickey Mouse and that they were shown propaganda at a very young age to radicalize them so that they could hurt our freedom. And that this was taught to me in public school. It was just, hey man, that's what happens. Why are you complaining? What, you don't think that's going to happen, little Jimmy, is what they'd say? And I could not imagine why an entire country would have such a beef with Mickey Mouse. And they said it was because of how lucky we were, because we get to pay for the roads, and that freedom isn't free, James. And because freedom isn't free, Iran's 6 months away from the nuclear bomb. And I said, okay, I got it. I enlisted in the Navy. I took the ASVAB, Armed Forces Military Efficiency thing. And they said, hey, man, if you come to us, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, what, you mean like whatever? It was like, no. But out of all these jobs, you could do whatever you want. And I said, okay, I want to fucking help. I don't like that there's people that have been trained since the moment they were born to hate me and Mickey Mouse and everything I do. Someone should do something. Think of the children. Someone should do something. And so I did. You did too. We paid taxes. We built a wall. We built an Iron Dome. We built a space war program. We inserted ourselves into the concept of Ronald Reagan and putting pew-pews in space. Ronald Reagan said we're going to put pew-pews in space. Pew, 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 pew. And anyone who shoots a missile at anyone at any time, if you give us, when you give us all of your resources, Americans, we will build this Star Wars laser cannon thingy. And I haven't seen it. And I'm sure the only reason why is because we got to 99.9% completion and the fucking election came and someone screwed it up because someone didn't vote for someone. And what else are you going to do? This is why we're not on Mars. It's because of the Republicats. It's because of the Democrats. Fucking Democrats took the budget away and we'd have boobies on the moon. This is what Trump promised last time. He said in 5 years, I will deliver boobies on the moon. In 5 years, he said. 5 years. And I was like, well, you're elected for 4. Is it 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, and then 4. Wait, 5. So it'd be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4. Oh, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, the Hottentots, the Hottentators, those guys. And so here we are, trying to work it out, right? Trying to figure out what's going on. And your media
traded those.
Your media. Let me make sure this
attacks overnight is talks with the U.S. on Iran's.
Yeah, your media. Don't worry, I know. Your media has deemed it necessary, thanks to Smith Moon. By the way, you're supposed to love Smith Moon because it teaches government accountability. This is the beauty of this Act Smith Moon. because of the someone asked a question about this the other day. They were like, "Hey James, can you explain what you mean by the country closed and which stream was that?" And man, I'm sorry, I don't have it right here. It's a lot of streams, but there's like a monkey, but that's like probably like a written article, and it's I can't remember. Sorry, but this is 967. I'm not gonna remember all the episodes, guys. I can barely remember how to keep myself unmuted. Am I right? Oh, am I right? So the same DPA, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, every president that I've ever seen has signed or approved or changed the crossing of a T or the dotting of I within the DPA. Department of Protection Act. It allows the government to create its own industries that it deemed dangerous to the overall well-being of the country and the world, by the way, and the world. It actually says that. And that means that if America wanted to just go into business and start creating technology like an electric car or something that they're insisting is necessary for our public good, that they're allowed to do that. And then if you add this to Smith Moon, they're allowed to distribute propaganda to foreign nations. But now you can, because of DPA, you can do it domestically too. Then you really have this sort of it's not a sort of technocracy. It's not a sort of rocracy. It's not a dinosaur kind of rocracy. It's a technocracy, but that's only if you think it's a government. It's not. I don't think that we're open, because the only thing holding this whole thing together is a suggestion box that's been placed, honestly, in a cafeteria that kind of looks like a prison cafeteria. And it says suggestions. And if you put something in the suggestion box, you're going to feel more powerful. You're going to feel like, I'm running the show. How do you know that, Big Tony? Because I voted for Peach Cobbler. And here we got Peach Cobbler 5 years later. I mean, it's poison. It's got a bunch of shit in it. It's full of pesticides. But we got our Peach Cobbler. The government bowed down to our ways. And those ways are ours. They're the good ways. They're the Democrats. We ain't need no Republicrats over here. We ain't gonna do that. We here worship Hutzlaportly, okay? You can take your Thorlock and tell him to shove it up his ballcock. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just here peeling an orange because I didn't eat nothing. Because I was like, I don't even know why I should go live. People don't give a shit, James. No one wants to hear what you have to say. And I'm like, that's the attitude, James, that the Iranians wanted you to have, James. If you care about America, James, you're going to go live. You're going to eat an orange right on live. You're going to tell the whole world, hey, guys, we couldn't even see this color before. I couldn't even see this color. We used to not be able to see this color. Yeah, you and me, we'd be like, I don't know what that is. It's true. Let's watch this. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. I think I do here. Oh, yeah. First I do here. What do we do here? We go over here. And then we hit play. And you're going to hear this.
And Israel traded those missile attacks overnight as talks with the U.S. on Iran's nuclear program were called off. According to a new report, President Trump opposed a recent Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader. The president has said if any U.S. armed forces are hit by Iran, America will retaliate, quote, with full strength and might. And while many American lawmakers are urging for de-escalation, there is agreement that the fates of the U.S. and Israel are connected.
A nuclear-armed Iran is a unacceptable threat to the world, not just to Israel, but to the United States as well.
We'll do what we need to do, and I think the United States knows what is good for the United States.
According to the U.S. ambassador to Israel, one missile fell near the American consulate in Tel Aviv, causing minor damage. No American.
I think America knows what's good. If America knows what's good for it, it will do the right thing. Did you just hear that? Fucking Netanyahu just said that. If America knows what's good for it, it will do the right thing. That's what he just said. That's what he just said. This isn't, what do you think it means when the news says, yeah, Trump is rejecting the plan to assassinate the Iranian leader? There's so many levels here of signature. And it's hard for people to really fathom how easy it is to frame things. That you don't have to say. So the word leaked, I thought of this yesterday. The word leaked is a perfect example. Okay? You're on your tractor, you're minding your own business, and you suddenly leak. No, the word leak is a perfect example of this, because if something is leaked from the White House, that means it's framed in, oh, we did not mean for you to see that. That's what leaked means in this context. So if you were reading news that someone says, oh, we did not mean for you to see that, you automatically, if you're a salt licker, let's be honest, if you're out there on the field and you've got a salt lick called media and you're just like, hey, let's go fucking lick that thing, you're going to get used to a certain diet. And when something is brought to you that says, oh, this has been accidentally leaked, a lot of really, really low calorie thinkers, there's no such thing as stupid people. There's just people that don't have enough calories at that time. They'll probably have a lot more calories the next day. So let's not get all judgy. Let's not get all, judge, please. We need more judgment in the world. But this leaking, it implies that what was leaked is true. Implies because of the fact, oh, we did not mean to see that. So if you say, anytime you see something leaked, you're kind of like, oh, that's what I see. But if you go on Twitter, you're going to find like 50,000 people that are like, the CIA document was leaked and it's got certain words that are blacked out and it's a mimeograph. So clearly everything here is true. And clearly everything here is not only true, but it is absolutely the most efficient, most viral, most brutal form of truth, because the bureaucracy of government put it out. It's weird, right? We do this. It's weird. So when you have a guy talking to the world about how, well, Trump's rejected the plan to assassinate the fucking president of another, or the leader of another country. This is right after, by the way, when he got elected. He got elected literally saying out loud, hey, I'll give you $25 million if you kill the president of Venezuela. I will fucking give you $25 million. Yeah, the dude who was just freely elected, I will give all of you $25 million. Now, the people that hate Trump, this is a brilliant opportunity to attack a man for his brutality. And nothing happened, guys. There was no pushback from that. You didn't see Barack Obama going, I'm ashamed. I don't know, he didn't talk that way. You didn't see Philo Beto. What is that guy's name from Texas? Beto. You didn't see him come out and say, I didn't know we live in the Wild West where we can go around putting bounties on the heads of people we don't like. None of them said a fucking word about that. He just did it. He did that, and he said in 5 years we're going to have boobies on the moon. He actually said that. No, not verbatim, but he came out and said, it would be great is if we had fucking women weightless in space. You know what I mean, guys? You know what I mean, fellas? We're going to get them on the moon, and they're going to be walking on the moon, fellas. That's all I got to say. And that's all it took, because this is how low each of us think of ourselves. The next time that you are watching someone tell you a secret underground Dr. Stephen Greer or whatever the fuck it is, or every single thing that everyone has ever thought about a molecule or about a virus is completely wrong, except for this one guy who's selling you fucking shungite on his website, I need you to fucking pull up a little tiny piece of fabric. It can be pink. If you can't handle red, that's okay. I don't want to scare you. But more Americans need to pull up a little red flag at this point, and they don't. Why? Because we are raised like veal. We have the mental capacity of an American. You heard it. Mental capacity of an American. How dare you be so insulting, James? We have been told for a long time now. A long time now. We've been told, let me pull this up for you. We've been told for a long time now. First, I got to go over here and pull this down. Sorry. Oh, watching James True. Hey, we got some new, I'm wearing a t-shirt. One of them, look at this. Got some new t-shirts into our store. If you want to check that out as I'm pulling this up. There's a 20% discount code in Patreon right now. You go over there and you put it in. Let me know. Hey, if some of you guys got the old reptile t-shirts, you get a discount for another one. If you want another one, we updated the design in there. And this is what I want to show you right here. Here we go. Is this gonna? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is 1992. Netanyahu comes out with a poster that he got from Revco, showing you a red marker blow up of a bomb graphic, a cartoon bomb. And he said, in 1992, 3 to 5 years, Iran's going to have a nuclear bomb. In 2003, Israeli military officials said, now it's 17 months. Now it's 17 months. So 9 years later, we went from 3 to 5 years to 17 months. Then in 2006, 3 years later, the U.S. State Department officials said it's only going to be 16 days. So literally, these are all, feel free to check these and tell me that I'm wrong, because I'm not wrong. That in 2006, the U.S. State Department said, in 16 days, Iran will have a nuclear weapon. You're fucked, man. You're fucked. And keep in mind, I'm leaving out all the stuff that happened before the internet was invented, before we could even send these engines to go find this stuff. Because when I was a kid, I'm telling you, they told me Mickey Mouse, they fucking burned Mickey Mouse. They set him on fire. They rape Minnie in front of Mickey and they make the dog watch. It's like that kind of stuff. And it's been brutalized into me at a very young age, the same way duck and cover is, the same way of climb underneath your desk, and that you need this central enemy. And what do you know? Which ones are the enemies? It's the ones that aren't participating in the petrodollar. What a fucking coincidence. Well, James, there's no coincidence between Venezuela and Iran and Iraq. Come on, James. Those guys don't have anything to do with each other. No, it's not like they're like giant oil powers. None of that. It's you're being silly, man. You're a conspiracy theorist. 2009, Israeli defense minister, 16 to 18 months. So Israeli defense minister really just repeated what the Israeli military official said 6 years prior. And then he just said, well, so we told you 17 months. It actually could be 18 months, but it could be 6 months. And then 2 years later, the IAEA said it's within months. That's what it is. It's within months. And then in 2022, Senator Menendez broke the bank. He said 3 to 4 weeks, my friends. 3 to 4 weeks. That's a month. He's broken the 1 month barrier. It only took 26 years. But in 26 years, we've broken the 6 month barrier. Now we're down to weeks, okay? Now, before we continue, I think it's important that we firmly understand just how dangerous this threat actually is. And we're going to let Menendez tell us himself, okay?
Member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and to this day as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I've had the privilege of engaging in the most pressing foreign policy and national security issues facing our nation. And while we are rightly focused on the crisis unfolding around Ukraine, we must not lose sight of how dangerously close Iran is to becoming a nuclear-armed state. For we know that a nuclear-armed Iran would pose an unacceptable threat to U.S. national security interests, to our allies in Europe, and to overall stability in the Middle East. As someone who has followed Iran's nuclear ambition for the better part of 3 decades, I'm here today to raise concerns about the current round of negotiations over the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action and Iran's dangerously and rapidly escalating nuclear program that has put it on the brink of having enough material for a nuclear weapon.
So he's doing great, right? He's just like, oh, I got papers. I got a poster board. I got a poster board that has a 3-dimensional graphic to it. We put a cloud background on it. Hey, Gina. Gina's the assistant. Hey, Gina, can we change the cloud background a little bit? Yeah, it's a little bit too ominous. Let's tone down tone this down. Let's put a radioactive symbol on the bomb, but put them in Iranian colors because they're the ones that are trying to get a nuclear weapon. It's not like we have one. I mean, we got 3,000, but it's not like we have one, right? It's not like that. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't and before we kill anyone, why don't we declare landmines a Schedule 1 narcotic and declare a drug war and take over Cambodia and say, sorry, you guys have allowed us to plant landmines under your ground, and even though 7 people die every day, and we had 50 years to do something about it, that the government was just busy. We're busy. Falkland Islands, guys, you don't remember that? Yeah, those who don't remember only don't remember because we did such a good job. We've been saving you. Pew-pews. In space. Bam. So, I'm saying if we can declare this as a fentanyl crisis, we go over to Cambodia, fucking send drones in to look for landmines that we left. This is a job for the military. This is badass. If you were to be killed because you went to Cambodia to pull up the landmine of some 50-year-old goddamn redneck who someone said thank you for your service for doing that to, and it took us this long to finally wake up about what's happening in the world, I would say thank you for your service. I would fucking do that. Some of you guys are like, James, I would do that. I'd be like, hey, thank you for your service, dude, who just came back from Cambodia and had to pull out a bunch of fucking landmines because the psychopaths that made you say thank you for your service put them there. And now they're yelling from their fucking couch thinking wrestling's real, insisting that Trump maybe should really consider taking him out. Why doesn't he have a one-on-one brawl? And the answer is because fucking Musk and Putin challenged Musk. Putin said, yeah, if you want to go hand to hand, I'll do it. You guys don't remember that, do you? This is before the cheating of the video games. Guys, this is not what you think it is. Government is not what you think it is. Countries are not what you think they are. All that matters is that
3 to 4 weeks.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I just need someone to notice that I just happened to hit pause right before he said 3 to 4. That's pretty cool. Yes, Menendez said this in 2022, and you know what else happened? I don't know, James. What else happened? This happened. 2 years later, Senator Bob Menendez was... Excuse me. To need oranges on the air. 2 years later, Senator Bob Menendez was convicted on July 16, 2024 by a federal jury in Manhattan. He was found guilty on all 16 counts brought against him, including... drumroll please. Bribery. Accepting cash, gold bars, a luxury car, and other gifts. Number 2, honest service wire fraud. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, wire fraud. Number 3, extortion under the color of official right. Wow, that sounds fancy. It's like, it's the Royal Order of the Blue Naval, right? And you're just like, do you mean naval? It's like, yeah. The blue innies and the blue outies, and you've got the color of official right. Extortion. Number 4, conspiracy to commit bribery, wire fraud, extortion, and obstruction of justice. Number 5, acting as a foreign agent for Egypt without proper registration. Looking at you, USS Liberty. And finally, obstruction of justice. The conviction stemmed from evidence that he and his wife accepted substantial bribes, including nearly $480,000 in cash, 13 gold bars worth around $150,000 from Mercedes-Benz in exchange for political favors such as steering $300 million in U.S. military aid to Egypt and intervening in legal and policy matters beneficial to foreign governments like Egypt and Guitar, not Qatar, Guitar. Guitar is actually a republic south of Qatar, and they get away with a lot of shit because people are just like, no, you're talking about my brother Qatar. We're Guitar, and then my sister Sitar. She's kind of weird. Yeah, you want to do something funky? You should ask her. She's got an OnlyFans. He was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison while this was happening, while all this shit was coming down. And he insisted the whole time, nothing happened. I didn't do anything else. But guys, instead, what we have to do is we have to suck us up because they're 3 to 4 weeks away from a nuclear bomb. And this is think of the children. Someone should do something. Thank you for your service, and we will think, 'cause freedom is not free, 'cause we don't have a country. I don't think we're open. I don't think we are. It's so much bullshit that I don't think that we're validly open. I think that I know. You're just like, why does you have to? Because I think it's interesting that Barack Obama and Trump both signed DPAs on 322. That's what I think is interesting. Not only do that, but the 322 was actually during the period where the Great Seal of the United States was not on the podium for at least 8 days, and corresponded, I think it was like Pi Day until then, but it like culminated on 322 when suddenly FEMA switches, and I think we're under a new corporate. If you take DPA seriously, and I think we should, but we can't because we're too busy taking seriously that they're 6 months away from a bomb, right? But if you take DPA seriously, then you know for a fact that legally America could even close down the government and build a corporation and license the corporation that just harbors the trademarks of USA, United States of America, and the flag and the seal as corporate logos. And that by assigning these corporate logos, licensing them to a agency that falls under the moniker of federal government, you have a technocracy that's just running like a Target, just like you walk into Target and there's a Starbucks there, and that's our healthcare system, and there's a bathroom there, and that's our public works, and you can walk around the aisles, and those are our roads, and that all you're doing is just you're inside of a Target that keeps saying we're going to build you an iron dome because the wall isn't big enough, because now we need an iron dome because the space pew pews, don't you fucking move, space pew pews are going to get you unless we defend you from us. And all of us are walking around going, well, you're not shit talking Mickey Mouse, are you? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't shit talk Mickey Mouse. I just wrote Black Eye Club. You can get it in stores right now. If you use the discount code Athena, you can actually get 20% off this baby. Feel free to check it out in the stores. Great book. Hope you check it out. Consider it. Someone else mailed me this, and you didn't sign your name, and I appreciate it. Looking forward to this. You guys know I love this Aztec stuff. Kind of into it. Pretty cool stuff. Looking forward to checking it out. So, there's no threshold. We have no, look, here's your bottom line. You have to fucking do this, politicians. We don't have that. As I've said before, I know, but as I said before, there's never, ever, ever been a scandal in the Electoral College. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, 0. Not once in the most important political election in the world, where we have the most corrupt political parties in the world appointing people to fucking vote for you. And not once have we heard about a suitcase or a briefcase or a cell phone or a prostitute or some kind of like drug ring or some sort of like underground party or some kind of bribery scheme or even Senator Menendez, even just a mild conspiracy charge. Not one single conviction, but more importantly, not one accusation, not one woman coming forward saying, the Electoral College raped me. I was stored as a satanic sex slave, and they made me wear these nipple clamps. And the reporter's like, why are you still wearing them? It's like, because I have trauma. That's why you shouldn't do that. And they made me wear these other things, and then they took me to parties, and they all the most powerful people in the world took turns making love to me because I was a satanic sex slave, and it was the Electoral College. Not once has that happened because it's a suggestion box. Do you think the warden would allow for any of the guards, for anyone at all, to have a discussion, or nay, to put a scope camera down into the suggestion box and actually look at what's inside, actually see who or what or how all these things are counted, and whether or not this actually created the peach fucking cobbler that's on the plate today? Is that how we got that? Or is it just more cherries jubilee? Because we are 3 to 4 fucking weeks away from total nuclear annihilation. And we voted for a professional wrestler who told you he's going to build an Iron Dome. But first we have to make fun of some trannies. First we have to call the governor of California a criminal. Then we have to work with the governor of California to talk about how outraged everyone should be. And the whole time we're going to bitch and complain because people are rioting. We're going to say, see, it's those people. Those people. They don't know that freedom's free, or they don't know that MAGA's a VAGA, or they don't know the Haga Waga. They don't understand how important it is that you put a bird on it. They don't understand. They don't understand that Hillary is going to break the glass ceiling, and that none of these things mean anything except for, does the church have a steeple? And it fucking does. That's all that matters. And that's really the only requirement we have, which is why I think you should be disgusted with a lot of the truthers that are giving you anonymous whispers from a tree. And guess what? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The news is an anonymous whisper from the trees.
Month or less. That's how long most analysts have concluded it would take Iran to produce enough fissile material for a nuclear bomb, if they chose to do so. That is not a timeline we can accept. That is why I'm calling on the Biden administration and our international partners to exert more pressure on Iran to counter its nuclear program, its missile program, and its dangerous behavior around the Middle East, including attacks on American personnel.
Those guys, they're walking around the Middle East. They're causing trouble. Yeah, that peaceful place, they're causing all kinds of trouble. They are. They are. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Look at them. Look at they make the dog watch. Okay? Pluto watches. You don't know the things they do to many. You were un-American. You don't understand how expensive freedom is. You don't understand how expensive freedom is. What would we do without the trails? Says the Indians. Without government, who would build trails? Who would build trails? I think you're looking at some Ahura Mazda. I think you need to put a little sprinkle of Ahura Mazda, some Mithras, and some Jesus, and smoke some with Muhammad, and we just need to come up with a new God, a new God. I think we're making that. I think it's happening right now. I think one of the most crucial elements to this God is going to be Israel. It's important. The reason why I think it's important is because I'm watching the mythology build itself. That's why. It's the only reason why. Am I for it? No. But I'm not here in nature to be for or against. I mean, I can pollinate the shit out of stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I didn't get to like write what was going to be here when I got here. I didn't get to decide how all this will work. And honestly, the more I look at it, the more I think that I could not have done a better job. I think whoever made this place probably knows what the fuck they're doing. And ultimately, it really comes down to where are you at in this process? It's one thing for you to have certain thoughts about what you think is going on, but it's quite another to live in a giant pool where other people have thoughts about what's going on and you don't agree with them. This really is the recipe for vitriol. And I think ultimately that's why you're here. You're here to process triangles that are hard to process. You're a biological video card. You're pulling dopamine. You're looking at different vectors, perspectives, and you're like, oh, this is a nice vista. And I'll tell you a secret. If you live a beautiful life, that feeling that you have, oh my God, I'm having a beautiful time right now. That feeling you have, that's probably God just peeking in through you. It's probably just God just seeing the world from your perspective right now. And that just feels like beautiful. It just feels that way. So if people are here for privacy, and I think they are, I think atheism is really one's deeper desire to have privacy from God, and that God wants you to have privacy from him because God wants to see how you're going to behave if you think he's not around. This would be the first thing any parent would do, is I'm going to let Jeffy ride his bike to school, but I'm going to fucking follow him. I've told him a million times how important it is to look both ways, but I don't know he's going to look both ways. I could pretend to be like the other parents on TV and trust that, or I could just fucking stalk my own kid. Are you saying you wouldn't do that? Are you saying that you would never stalk a child if it was your own? If so, how does that make you better? Because I'm just not sure. Because in my mind, that would be the ultimate time that God would look the most, is when you've built an atheistic bubble that you can build your privacy from God and just go to town. Whatever virility, whatever sort of like freedom that you think that you're going to have from this privacy, you can steal stuff, you can take paper clips from God's closet, all you want, right? And that this is when God's seeing you. He's seeing you now. These triangles are hard to render, but they're important. And ultimately, I think God chooses to see through you. In other words, those times you feel beauty is because of how hard you worked to render through the hard triangles to get there. There's a viable trust that he's installed in his BIOS that says, you know, that's a good triangle renderer down there. Over there, that person over there. They're the perfect triangle. They are good at rendering triangles. And so you end up being a vessel for God because you're a vessel for God's witness. It's pretty fucking simple. I know I sound like a cult. I don't fucking care. Don't worry. I'm not going to take over the world. I'm the one that's telling you guys, I don't think you can take over the world. I've literally said that. I don't think you can. You know why? Because I think the only way that you could get yourself to a place where you could start to feel that you take over the world is to pull a Menendez. It's just to fucking start going around just making lies up, just outlying everyone else. And you lose your interior that way, right? I don't think God's going to want to sit inside me if I don't have that interior waiting. I just don't. I think I'm God's probably the most mundane witness God has. I don't mind that. I think God has a lot more exciting people. Honestly, I think God probably spends most of his time, if he's scoping out on human behavior, I think he's probably more in Africa. I think he's probably more in the inner city if he gets this far. And I think most of his time is honestly deep underwater. I think he's really digging the whale population. I'm just saying because they're all connected with salt. I've put forward this idea for a long time, but I think whales have been hypnotizing mariners for centuries, pirates. The reason why pirates have so much more sovereignty is because they were hypnotized by whales at night. Duh. And so while you're sleeping out on your boat at night, the whales are coming up and they're, clicking click-clacking. Quetzal's coming underneath your boat, giving you the ambient invental delta waves where you start inventing things like the printing press or the internet. And that all these things really came from these creatures that are dipped in salt water. They're just the milky oracles, right? Just the milk is the ocean is all. And they're just moving around, hypnotizing all the mariners, telling them how to build society. And we do. All these things that we do probably came from the ocean. That's why we have concept of Sheol. So even the war, even the spiciness that we have, you're looking at a 5, 12, 13 octave. God's probably 108 octaves, let's be honest. 108 octave being is going to find someone like me pretty fucking mundane. I think for me to get his attention, I'd have to be like maybe playing Russian roulette like every morning. Like really placing myself in that vessel of, this is it, man. Like this is the Red Bull, Evel Knievel. You're going to jump over a helicopter at Las Vegas. That's the kind of seat, mercy seat. This is just me, guys. This is one of the many mercy seats that I think God would find closer to comfortable. And it's simply because if he's got like a 16 octave range, I think he's going to be like, oh, beige. Oh, look at that. Oh, you're being beige. Oh, look at that. You're being beigier than before. And keep being beige. I'm going to keep being beige. Okay. I'm going to keep being beige. But if I feel that beautiful as someone who's like in the mundanity of beigeness and I see something beautiful, I can't even imagine what it's like to have God channeling through you when your vessel, when your arc, when your drum is that wide, when your aperture is that wide, like you probably turn into this Kali creature. Kali, not from the standpoint of look how cruel and evil they are. Kali from anytime you see power that has a greater octave than you. Remember we discussed what fear is. That Kali would look like terror, would look like evil, would look like rage simply because you have a 2 or 3 octave limit and you're detecting or looking at something with a 12 octave limit, right? You and I see killer whales as kind of killers. We literally put it in their name, right? Some of you are like, they're gentle creatures. Well, then why are we calling them killer whales, okay? Think for a second. They know we call them that. They know we call them that. So don't worry. Don't worry about it. They're fine with it. They still think it's beige. For you to even call them a killer, they still think it's beige. The point is that we look at them as terrifying beings, but they're probably not. They're probably just as beige as we are, but just a little bit less beige in the eyes of God because they just have that 5 octave, right? So you can imagine why God melts your face off. You can imagine how hard it would be to be in that vessel, to be in that spot, right? It's just, I think it's why it's so important that you stay in your bandwidth, your human bandwidth, because there's so much depth here. And that you just harvest that mercy seed. Your bone throne, right? The Elvis in your pelvis, right? Your bone clone. That's all you are. You're an epigenetic bone clone. You've been boning your clone. You've been doing this to yourself the whole time. James, that's just gross. I know. But that's why we're here. Guys, don't worry about it. In 3 weeks, it's going to be over. Once they get a nuclear bomb, you know the first thing they're going to do is they're going to want Minnie Mouse. They're going to be like, well, you will send us Minnie Mouse, so we'll destroy the whole world. And honestly, guys, after that Snow White movie, people are fucking tired of Disney. They're like, chef, send that bitch over. Red Rover, send Minnie right over. And it's going to go over there. They're going to put her in a hijab. They're going to walk her around. They're going to be like, oh, we've captured America, because that's what they told me when I was a kid. That's what they said they would do when I was a kid. And the same government that said they were going to do that when I was a kid is complaining about how racist people are and how people hate this and hate that. And meanwhile, the governor of California is a criminal. Meanwhile, oh, I don't know about the gays, or I don't know about the trans, or whatever the fuck it is that we want to find to stir the pot, because the point is to stir the pot, because if you stir the pot more, your octaves octavate. Octavius, man. Octavius Octaveso. So take this with a grain of salt. You know why? Because inside the grain of salt is every memory that has occurred while that thing came out of your pag. Yes, your periaductal gray. Thank you for watching, James True. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be careful. Watch what you can. Get yourself a book. Get yourself a shirt. We'll see you next time.
It's